Acquiring its name from the Greek term for water horse, the hippo is a large, rotund animal, semi-aquatic by nature, while rhinoceroses, rhino for short, is a massive land animal that is believed to have existed in generally its current form since the Miocene age. Should these two behemoths encounter each other in a test of strength, thinking about who would win makes for a highly entertaining exercise. Before we can compare the two creatures and how they would fare against the other in this regard, we need to assure that we learn more about them. Then we can figure out who is stronger and more dominant between the hippo and the rhino.
Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon to get notified for more amazing pets content. With that being said, let's begin.
Hippo versus rhino. Appearance. 5 different subspecies of rhino are known to exist in the world. These include the white rhino, the black rhino, the Indian rhino, the Sumatran rhino, and the Javan rhino, with the white and black variants being the most prominent in the world. White rhinos are distinguished by longer heads due to their square upper lips, with more distance between their mouth and ears. They also have a longer front horn, along with a shorter secondary horn located behind it. Black rhinos, sometimes referred to as hooked-lipped rhinos, have a pointed upper lip with 2 horns that are closer in proximity to each other than the white variety. While their names would have one believe that they vary in colors, both rhinos' hides are more thick, gray, and hairless. Indian and Javan rhinos are breeds with just 1 horn. The hippo is a semi-aquatic mammal with a body shape akin to a barrel with a large head, short legs, and a short tail. Their skin can range from mud brown to gray, faded to that color from an underlying pink hue. The skin emits sporadic red secretions that lubricate their skin, coating it with a layer of antibacterial protection. The hippo's nostrils and eyes are located on top of their heads, so that when their bodies are submerged, keeping just their head out of the water is sufficient for breathing. Hippo versus rhino. Size. The smallest subspecies of rhinos is the Sumatran rhino, with an adult weighing in at a massive 1,765 pounds, 800 kilograms, averages about 8 to 10 feet in length, 2.5 to 3 meters, and are roughly 4.8 feet, 1.5 meters tall from their hooves to their shoulders. Most other African rhinos range in weight between 2,200 and 7,700 pounds, 1,000 to 3,500 kilograms, with the white rhino being the biggest with a body length of about 12 to 13 feet, 3.7 to 4 meters, and an average 6 foot, 1.8 meters shoulder height. While the length of the rhino horn depends on the subspecies, its length generally falls into the 20 to 51 inch, 51 to 130 centimeter range. Hippos are the 3rd largest animal in Africa, second only to the elephant and the white rhino. Their bodies can grow between 10.8 and 16.5 feet, 3.3 to 5 meters, which is longer than that of a rhino, mostly depending on age and gender, with an average shoulder height of 5.2 feet, 1.6 meters. Females tend to weigh around 3,000 pounds, 1,400 kilograms, while males can range between 3,500 and 9,920 pounds, 1,600 to 4,500 kilograms. Hippo versus rhino. Habitat. Sumatran rhinos live almost exclusively in certain parts of Indonesian and Malaysian rainforests and swamplands, while white and black rhinos live in floodplains and grasslands of southern and eastern parts of Africa. The hippos primarily reside in sub-Saharan Africa, where water is abundant. Some rogue hippo population pockets have also been found to live around the Magdalena River as well. Hippo versus rhino. Behavior. Rhinos can often be found either wallowing in muddy pools, covered in muck which helps to repel the sun's rays and bugs, or sleeping in the shade during the hot days to cool off. While rhinos do interact with each other during feeding times at night, staying as solitary beings during all other hours of the day. By their nature, male rhinos are fiercely territorial and will only permit other males to live in their lands if they are subordinate. Female rhinos, cows, are also loners, but occasionally they'll wander in groups with others, called crashes, including their offspring, roaming across multiple territories. Hippos are even more closely linked to aquatic activities, often spending as much as 16 hours of the day in the water to escape the sun's heat. Surprisingly, they are actually highly inadequate swimmers, mostly due to their weight. When they're in the water, the hippos either stand on sandbanks or balance in the water on their tippy toes. If the water is too deep for their height, they can fully submerge while they trot along the bottom. Typically, this is not a problem, as they can hold their breath for about 5 minutes, leaving them plenty of time to get footing. At night, they leave the water and graze on land, sometimes covering a distance of as much as 6 miles. Hippo versus rhino. Sound. Rhinos are solitary creatures and overall generally quiet animals, but that doesn't mean they do not communicate. They emit a variety of sounds that depend on their current state, their intent, or present need. These sounds can include panting, bleating, growling, grunting, trumpeting, and screaming. Females even squeal and moo to communicate with their offspring. Growling and grunting are typically done by males to assert their dominance or to issue their presence to rhino groups. When in distress or feeling anxious due to prospective nearby dangers, rhinos can snort and make loud sniffing sounds, while bleating noises are a sign of submission. Unlike the rhino, hippos are extremely vocal beings, often growling, grunting, chuffing, wheezing, and even roaring, peaking at as much as 115 decibels, according to research done by the San Diego Zoo. For comparison, this is a type of volume that is experienced by someone standing at about 15 feet, 4.5 meters, from a large speaker at a rock concert. Hippos can also make chuffing and honking noises that sound like a deep laugh, as well as using subsonic communications. Hippo versus rhino. Diet. Rhinos are herbivores, so they eat mainly plants and grass as they graze during dawn, dusk, and nighttime hours. Where they eat from is largely defined by the shape of their snout, with hook-lipped rhinos eating fruits and leaves off bushes and trees, while the square-lipped kind grazes on grass. While the rhino can be without water for as long as 5 days, they need to consume a minimum of 120 pounds, 54 kilograms of grass per day to sustain their body weight. For a long time, hippos were also believed to be herbivores, but recent research has shown that they are actually omnivores, sometimes feasting on dead carcasses of other animals, including other hippos. Grass still makes up the bulk of their diet, however, and as they scavenge, they attempt to consume at least 80 pounds, 35 kilograms of it daily, which is a surprisingly small intake volume considering their massive size. Sometimes food can be scarce, and the hippo's physiology is prepared for those occasions too. Their stomachs can store food for later digestion, allowing them to go without eating for as long as 3 weeks. Hippo versus rhino. Bite force and overall strength. While they eat vegetation, the rhino's bite is extremely powerful, putting to shame the 650 psi bite strength of an African lion. In fact, the rhino's jaws have a bite force of 1,100 psi. Many mistake hippos for being cuddly, docile animals, an unfortunate error that could not be further from the truth. Not only are they easily agitated and ill-tempered, they have been known to attack tourists, which is a scary occurrence considering not only their massive size, but their 2,000 psi bite strength. Hippo versus rhino. Speed. The speed of a rhinoceros depends on the subspecies, but overall rhinos are incredibly fast for their size, being able to easily outrun Usain Bolt, the fastest human on Earth. Bolt has achieved speeds of 27.8 miles an hour, 44.64 kilometers per hour, but that is no match for the 34 miles an hour, 55 kilometers per hour run of a fast-moving rhino. If the rhino is off to gore a tourist, speed alone will never be the solution to a getaway. Due to their size, their turning radius is poor, so jumping out of the way and rolling away on the ground is the best option for escape. When a hippo charges, it can do so at a stunning 19 miles an hour, 30 kilometers an hour on land. While they cannot swim, they still move through the water at up to 5 miles an hour, 8 kilometers an hour. They cannot jump and do occasionally need to surface to breathe every few minutes, but they can climb steep banks at speeds faster than humans can swim. Hippo versus rhino. Attack. Rhinos are nervous and anxious, easily spooked. However, generally their defense is not to run in the other direction, but rather charge the other animal instead. Sometimes they even charge large rocks and trees, mistaking them for dangers. The latter happens mostly due to their poor eyesight. Even on an open plain, rhinos cannot see more than 100 feet ahead. What their vision lacks, their other senses, namely olfactory and auditory, help them know exactly which direction the perceived threat is, defining the direction of their charge. Not to be mistaken with their cute appearance, one would be hard-pressed to find an animal more overly aggressive than the hippo. The numbers support this fact, as hippos are the #1 ranked cause of human death by an animal in Africa every year. Their mouths are not only filled with long tusks and large teeth, including canines and incisors 1.8 feet 54 centimeters and 1.4 42 centimeters respectively. Their jaws can unhinge to nearly 180 degrees, which means they have to take a big bite of anything. Hippo versus rhino, who would prevail in battle? In a head-to-head battle, the matchup is nearly even. The winner would be largely determined by the situation of the encounter. If a dominant male rhino spotted a hippo on its land first, it would charge and gore it first. Of course, that doesn't mean a death blow to the massive hippo either. Not only are hippos formidable in strength, but the rhino's horn also is not always strong enough to cause a fatal blow during a gore. A rhino without a horn stands no chance against a ready-to-fight hippo. The hippo's teeth and tusks are bigger and far stronger than a rhino's horn. In the water, the hippo would dominate a rhino in every scenario. When a rhino gores another creature, it depends heavily on having some distance to gain speed to propel the strength of its momentum. In the water, the rhino simply will not have that at its disposal. Even if the rhino were to strike a hippo in the water from a short distance, the hippo's thick skin would prevent almost any damage from being incurred. The hippo, however, has multiple methods of battle at its disposal. This includes tackling the rhino with its sheer weight into the water, drowning the creature by holding it underneath. The hippo can also devastate the rhino with powerful bites from its jaw, sinking the tusks and large teeth into its hide. Even if the rhino opts to evade the situation, the hippo is faster and can chase him down on land. The only real chance a rhino has is to run early enough to prevent the hippo from following in time. In most situations, therefore, the advantage in the rhino versus hippo battle will go to the hippo.
Bringing you more value per minute than any other pets channel out there, or at least trying to. We would appreciate if you at least like or share this video. That would mean the world to us.